Call to order regular meeting of the Goodyear City Council, February 12th, 2007. Please join Councilmember Holland in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you will, in the invocation. And please remain standing for the invocation.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And bow your head as a sign of respect. To our military on duty here and overseas, protect them. Our firemen and policemen that guard the home front, keep them safe. Our community, city, and business leaders, may they make good decisions. Our governor and president, and may they work together for a greater America. And I love the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag. Thank you. Amen. Amen.
Roll call. Couldn't resist, could you, Brenda? Just couldn't resist.
We got your message.
Hey, Mayor Kavanaugh is out of town this evening, and Councilmember Souza is in the hospital tonight. It's nothing real serious, but he's going to be held over for 36 hours, 24 hours to 36 hours. Could I have a motion to excuse both? So moved. Second. I have a motion from Councilmember Scott, second from Councilmember Antonio, to excuse both Councilmember Souza and Mayor Kavanaugh. All in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. They will be excused for this evening. So it's by vote of, there's 5 of us, right? 5-0. There has been a change in the agenda, in the order of the agenda items, and in the future, the draft minutes will be approved under the consent. So just make note of that for you members of the council. At this time, on communications, I have a presentation to make. Mr. Denal from the New Life Center would come forward. On behalf of the City of Goodyear, I'd like to present to you a check for $40,000 for the further capital outlay investment for your construction for the New Life Center. And thank you very much for the wonderful job you're doing for the City of Goodyear and for all of the people who come to this. Thank you very much. So if you stand here maybe wants to speak.
No, you're good. No, stay there.
No.
They changed it, Frank. They changed it.
You're going to change it?
Yeah,
okay.
so you can be right there.
Okay, we're covered.
Don't make any
A handshake. Thank you very much.
good job, Frank.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask any citizen from the floor to, if they would like to present something, a subject to the council that is not on the agenda. So it's a non-agenda item. If you would like to address the city council on something like that tonight, please do so at this time. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. And I'd like to ask the city clerk to read the consent items A through I by title only.
Item A, approval of minutes, draft minutes of a special meeting held on January 17, 2007. Approval of draft minutes of special meeting held on January 22, 2007. Approval of draft minutes of regular meeting held on January 22, 2007. and an approval of draft minutes of a special meeting held on January 25th, 2007. Item B, council will consider for possible action approving a use permit to allow three convenience uses for a Cobblestone Auto Spa and Market, a convenience store, gas station, and car wash, and an automotive service station on a 2.7-acre parcel in the Cobblestone Creek Commercial Center, located at the northwest corner of McDowell Road and Pebble Creek Parkway in the Palm Valley Planned Area Development, subject to stipulations. Item C, council will consider adopting Resolution 071117, authorizing the city manager to execute an intergovernmental agreement with Maricopa County to provide city funding for the construction and installation of safety improvements at the Cotton Lane and Roosevelt Irrigation District Bridge, providing for an effective date. Item D, council will consider authorizing the city manager to award a professional services contract to Red Oak Consulting for a cost of service study in an amount not to exceed $349,000 and authorize city manager to execute all related documents. Item E, council will consider ratifying the execution of the Ninth Amendment to the agreement between the City of Goodyear and Tonopah Irrigation District to purchase and deliver not less than 7,000 acre-feet during calendar year 2007 of interruptible Central Arizona Project incentive recharge water to the Tonopah Irrigation District for in lieu water recharge project credits. Estimated purchase price is $252,000 for 7,000 acre-feet. Item F, council will consider adopting Resolution 071126, authorizing the city manager to execute a subcontract between the City of Goodyear, the United States, and the Central Arizona Water Conservation District for reallocated Central Arizona project water. Item G, council will consider approving an employee consultant funding agreement with Sonoran Valley Property LLC to assist city staff with processing development submittals for approximately 10,000 acres of property generally located south of Patterson Road, east of the Sonoran Desert National Monument, north of State Route 238, and west of the Maricopa-Pinal County line. Item H, council will consider approving the Centerra 1 and 2 site plan, a proposed 33.43 acre mixed-use development consisting of 23 apartment buildings with 508 dwelling units and 3 mixed-use buildings generally located east of Estrella Parkway and north of Yuma Road within the Centerra planned area development, subject to stipulations. Item I, council will consider approving rescheduling the March 12, 2007 regular scheduled council meeting to March 5, 2007 due to several council members attending the National League of Cities Conference.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to remove any item from the consent agenda? Yes, Dustin?
Mr. Vice Mayor, we'd like to remove item H.
Item 7H, to approve the Centerra 1 and 2 site plan. Okay, would you like to discuss it tonight? Well, okay. Okay, at this time, we'd like to ask the council to make a motion to approve consent agenda items 7A through 7G and 7I, excluding 7H. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Lord and a second from Councilmember Antoniak. Would you like to, let's see, what are we doing now?
You need to vote.
Let's get back to this. Okay. So at this point, we have a roll call vote. Okay, ask for a roll call vote.
Councilmember Antoniak,
Aye.
Councilmember Scott, Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Lord,
Aye.
Mayor Cavalier.
Aye.
Pass 5-0.
Okay, on 7H, Mr. Jones, would you like to make a comment?
Mr. Vice Mayor, members of the council, the reason we've requested to remove our site plan that was on your consent agenda is we have two stipulations that we would like some modification or actually relief from. Stipulation, if you look in your packets, stipulation number 13 and 15 are the ones that are in question here. I'm going to put our site plan on Elmo for you. The site plan that you have before you is a mixed-use development. It's multifamily residential on the rear portion, and then out here on the street on the corner of Goodyear Boulevard North and Estrella Parkway is a commercial piece. And you can see we have three buildings here. Working with the Planning Commission and staff, those buildings are not just going to be retail buildings, but the buildings actually have incorporated residential above them. The Planning Commission was very, very adamant about incorporating residential above the retail at this site. If you go through your staff report, I'm sure you'll see that there was a continuance at one time and a month-long delay working with staff and working with our architects and working with our commercial partner to make that work. The desire of the developer of the site is to have this project be very viable for the city, to have the retail and the residential work. The stipulation 13 and 15 would prohibit any median break along Estrella Parkway that would allow for a left-end turn for those traveling southbound on Estrella Parkway. So if you're coming down Estrella Parkway towards the city center, the median is fully improved already, but a break would not be allowed to allow for a left-hand turn here. At the other entrance on Goodyear Boulevard North here, there is also a median that will be installed by my client on this property. However, the stipulation 15 would prohibit a left turn out. So as you come out of the center, you would have to make a right and go down to the intersection and make a U-turn if you wanted to go eastbound on Goodyear Boulevard North onto Goodyear Boulevard East and make it back down to Yuma Road. So what I provided here, I provided an exhibit that would show what we are proposing to address any concerns that council may have. So again, here is the blank site plan. What we would propose, again, removing stipulation number 13, would be to allow for those coming southbound on Estrella Parkway to be able to break this median and be able to turn into the site, and then have the full movement on Goodyear Boulevard North. Looking at the site plan and looking at some of the precedent that's been set in the city already with respect to the distances, 642 feet from the intersection of Goodyear Boulevard, we feel would be sufficient distance from the intersection to allow for this median break, to allow for a left in only. Again, those coming out of the site would not be able to make a left and go southbound on Estrella Parkway. They would just be able to make a right and go north. And so it would just be a left-only break in the median there. And then on Goodyear Boulevard, we have approximately 553 feet from the intersection there, and that would be full movement break on that piece there. So we have pulled this site plan from your consent agenda to request council remove stipulation 13 and 15.
Okay.
And if there's any questions, we can address those as well.
Thank you.
We have a staff report.
Yes. Please, can we have staff report on this? Mr. Canning.
Mayor, council members, during the staff's development review process for this site plan, the staff reviewed with the applicant on numerous occasions the issue of driveways and median breaks and access in and from this development. Throughout that process, we're consistent with the applicant indicating that based upon the engineering design guidelines and its design standards, that the full median break onto Estrella Parkway was not within those standards. Basically, maybe to orient you, this is Yuma Road, Goodyear Boulevard North, and Harrison. And this would be 1/4 mile and 1/2 mile. And by the engineering design standards is that full median breaks are only allowed within the 1/2 mile, 1/4 mile and 1/2 mile. A partial break, meaning left in, as Dustin has indicated, coming south on Estrella, coming in to Centerra, could be considered in some instances. So engineering basically said, for the reasons of design standards, that initially it's not allowed. Then looking at the partial left in, then the question becomes, are there other factors? And there is one other factor which led to engineering throughout the site plan review process indicating that they did not want that median break. This would be the driveway coming out and the requested left turn bay and then left turn movement into Centera. And as you can see on the graphic, the other factor involved in the decision of not supporting a full median break here is the existing median that was recently improved with the row of palm trees. And that to construct that full, even partial median break with a left in would result in the loss of 6 to 8 or 10 of those palm trees in order to facilitate the left turn bay needed to go into the property. So for the two reasons of not being consistent with the standards and because of the loss of the palm trees, engineering staff could not support the applicant's request, and that's why you have this, the stipulation before you as written. Regarding the access off Goodyear Boulevard North, at this location, engineering department has supported and has allowed within the site plan the left turn movement from Goodyear Boulevard into the site, but not the left turn out. The crossing of the Goodyear Boulevard North is a scenic arterial, 3 lanes in each direction, 6 lanes, and given the spacing of its distance from Estrella Parkway and the cross-section of the street, engineering cannot support that left-out movement, which is the most dangerous movement. I'll be happy to answer further questions, but at this point in time, city staff cannot really support the request.
Okay, at this time, well, let's see, we go
Questions?
We go to the council, or we need a motion first
No,
on
I have
this.
a question. You have to have a
So
motion.
we need a motion on this before we can discuss it?
We've discussed things in the past before a motion, right?
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Councilman.
I have a concern, City Manager, you may be able to help me on. When we had our 28-man committee for the city center, and Harvey came to us about those palm trees all the way down, and they wanted to speed up putting those in to make it look better, we were very concerned, and the committee said, no, we really don't want you to do it. And the reason is that we might come to this time, just like we are right now, where the infrastructure would have to be torn up, and the trees would have to be removed. And we were assured, if you remember, that that was not going to be a problem anywhere along Estrella Parkway, that we'd be able to remove those palm trees. So that was not supposed to be an issue. The other issue I have with this is that what you're doing is, in my view, is not allowing what's going to happen at Goodyear Boulevard is you're going to give all these people making a U-turn to come back to this retail area. So what we're asking them to do, we're asking them to put a retail area in the area, or they want to, and we're going to tie their hand behind their back and say, okay, but we're going to try to prevent you from having the density of business that you might have if we had that left-hand turn in there. And I've driven down Dysart, where Chick-fil-A is, and where Bill Johnson is, and we have 2 of those cuts closer than these cuts, and it comes right off of I-10. So I just question why are we preventing this?
Well, answer that. No. Look,
Well,
why don't
do we have, can someone give us an answer on that one?
I think he just,
Mayor,
It's
Councilman.
just, it's kind of a,
Mayor, Councilman,
it's a rhetorical.
May we defer to our city engineer for further, I mean, it's a matter, I think, of traffic safety and lessening the amount of those turning movements and the median cuts and going through that, and balancing that out with access to property.
And I can respect this, but sometimes engineering doesn't think about marketing. So I just come from more of on a marketing aspect of what we need, and to us, that's revenue.
Councilman Lord, on the brake cuts that you've indicated, there has been a history of accidents in those areas, and so that's one of the concerns that we have with putting full movement along the roadway where we don't have the half-street improvements or half-street roads.
And I can appreciate that, but I actually walked it, and I was amazed how much space there was. I mean, I was amazed compared to some of the other areas in the city that we've allowed cuts, and so that's where I'm coming from, is, and that and the U-turns. I can just see people passing that. You got people coming out of the post office, so you got that traffic, and you got the traffic U-turning, and you got the traffic coming down to Estrella, so I just thought it would relieve part of that congestion in that corner.
Can we be clear, too? I don't think, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but...
Come on, point of order.
No, I'm making a clarity point, and that's it. And the applicant is not requesting full movement on Estrella Parkway. It's only a half pork chop, essentially.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. So can we be clear on that as you're talking forward?
Sure.
Councilmember Holland.
I think it's a safety issue. I was concerned when I saw on Estrella Parkway, not so much Goodyear Boulevard, but on Estrella, the traffic has moved so fast there. And if you make people make a right, and then they have to go up and make another left to go south. I was trying to figure out how they could do that. Or when they're coming in from the north and they need to turn into the shopping center, it just seems silly to go back to the light and have to come back up again. I guess I look at it as a safety problem. We already have a couple of those places in the city already where we're forced to make a U-turn to get back in the direction that we need to go. And I consider the West Valley Hospital a good example of that, and it's scary. It's scary.
Councilman.
I have a question, engineering question. From either direction, Estrella or Goodyear Boulevard, making that left turn, there'll be a left turn lane off of both those roads there?
Correct.
I see. And we're talking about maybe 5 or 6 palm trees being sacrificed? Is that, it sounds like that.
Approximately 6 to 8 would be the estimate, and that's only an estimate.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, any other
Yeah,
questions?
whose expense is the
Yeah.
palm tree removal and the roadway improvements that the left turns put in?
Mr. Vice Mayor, members of the council, we would take care of all the costs for the improvement of the median and the relocation of the trees. We've offered that to staff as well. We're not trying to sacrifice and kill them. If we can take them out and put them somewhere.
Can't move them to your house.
My yard would, I've actually thought of that.
Donated.
But we wanted to work with the staff on this. When it came down to, well, we're going to be sacrificing landscaping, we felt like, well, we could make accommodations and relocate them and do something with them. So we would offer to do that on both medians, make the changes needed.
Okay, go ahead, Antonio. Councilman Antonio.
Yeah, Dustin, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you also make some accommodations to appease the Planning and Zoning Commission that were a bit unusual in this project that we haven't talked about?
Mr. Vice Mayor and Councilmember Antoniak, we didn't want to get into that detail because we were on this consent agenda tonight, but Mr. Gelser, member of the commission, is here and would attest to you that there was a significant pressure put on us by the Planning Commission to integrate residential above the retail. It was something we looked at. It's something that has not been done in the city and not been done in many locations. However, working with our commercial developer, working with their architect, we've incorporated 6 units above the units. We had designed them as faux 2-story buildings to give it that elevation, the height, but Commissioner Gelser wanted people in those elevations, and so we worked with the architects to incorporate that. So really trying to make this a vibrant corner and really, for lack of a better word, just looking for a break.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
So-
hold on just a second, let's hear from the city.
Yeah, I just want to carry it back to the safety issue and wanted you to address that if you would.
Well, we've addressed that, yes.
Vice Mayor, Councilman Holland, we can certainly look at the left-in option only. Certainly a full movement, left out, left in is certainly something that we would not support. But if the palm trees are the only casualties here, we can certainly look at that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
City manager?
Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman Ward, reference to Dicer, just for information, Dicer is not the responsibility of the city of Goodyear. It is the responsibility of Avondale, and thus all the median breaks, et cetera, that exist there are a function of their decision-making process.
But they do function. I mean, unless I not have the traffic report on them, but I turn there often.
Yeah, we don't have any statistics on it, but
There is another traffic break like that on Estrella Parkway near the new Wells Fargo Bank. where cars have to come up to that intersection at Roosevelt and make a U-turn to go north. So there is an example of one already on Estrella Parkway, and it is a nuisance. It is quite a nuisance.
U-turn.
The
U-turn is a
yes.
nuisance, yeah.
So
I agree.
I'm afraid someone has maybe caused an accident. I haven't seen it. Maybe it has. Yes, Councilman.
I gotta ask this just to be clear. Estrella Parkway, we're talking about left-in only.
Correct.
So I would anticipate engineering would design such that it would be very difficult, with the exception of some large SUVs, to make the left out illegally. I mean, you would put a half pork chop in, essentially.
It would be what we call a protected left-in turn. Exactly.
I don't look at this much different than the accommodation we made at the Marriott on Northwest Hill Road. The expense was, this was prior to your arrival here, sir.
Right.
But, it was, the expense was borne by the developer, and the distance wasn't much different, or is not much different from the other intersection, if I recall.
Vice Mayor, Councilman Antoniak, the stipulation is a standard detail or a standard requirement from engineering, and it's up to, as noted in the stipulation, the approval of the city engineer. So we can take a look at that, reevaluate, and come back to you with our recommendations.
Is that okay with the applicant?
Yeah, because
Can we-
that's time.
Do you have a problem with that?
But
Mayor, Councilmember, I think both the applicant and the staff, if the council's preference is to allow the left-in action, recognizing that it would require the removal or replacement of the palm trees, then my suggestion would be to modify the stipulation to state so rather than come back. This is an application to approve the site plan. The applicant is interested in submitting construction plans for the apartments tomorrow or the day after. So our recommendation would be to modify the stipulation as you desire.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the only other suggestion is that we include in here that the increased cost of doing this be absorbed by the applicant.
yes,
Right.
it would be the applicant's.
Dustin, you agree to that?
Bob, I would suggest that you provide the council's suggested language for 13 and 15.
Thank you.
I haven't written anything down, but you need to.
I would. Bob, what if 13 read the median break shown on site plan at the North Estrella Parkway access point shall be permitted, and
Has one up there.
paid for? No, he doesn't. Do you? You have one up
He
there?
just gave you.
No, he doesn't. And the cost shall be borne by the developer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Period. And then 15.
Left hand only.
The left turn in only.
Left in only on the Estrella Parkway, and then scratch 15. I just drove the express route in Scottsdale today, and you drive it every day. But I drove the express route in Scottsdale today, and these exist everywhere, too, up and down the express route.
Maybe to repeat as a suggested
Yeah.
revised stipulation that the median break shown on the site plan north of Estrella Parkway shall be allowed as a left-in turning movement only, or protected left turning movement only, and that the cost for the relocation, the construction of the median and the relocation of palm trees shall be borne by the developer.
That's good.
Sounds good.
Okay.
We're not sending the trees back to Hawaii.
What about number 15?
Then just delete number 15.
All right.
Mayor, Council, if, as currently written, it'd allow the left turns in there, but not the left turns out. If council's preference is to allow the left turns out, then 15 should be deleted.
Yeah.
And if there's a subsequent traffic signal, who bears the cost of that?
Mayor, Councilman,
You're anticipating that?
Well, my question
You got
is,
6 lanes of traffic.
if we're going, if getting into traffic, that's one of my questions that I had for you is, where would the traffic signals be?
It would have to be at that intersection, sir.
There would have to be
You would
one
not
at
find
that
one?
intersection. Will there be one at the north intersection by the church?
No.
No.
there will be traffic signals this
I
location,
understand that,
this location here,
yes.
and down here, and we're talking about the driveway being located here.
So is he
But I'm talking about another traffic signal at the break on Estrella Parkway.
At Harrison.
That's on Harrison?
Half mile
On Harrison, yes, half-mile point,
Oh, that, if there is one on Harrison?
would be.
will be.
Oh, there will be.
Long-term.
That is already established.
It's planned for.
It's
Could your
planned for.
boulevard have a median?
It hasn't
Yeah,
been,
it will.
Ultimately,
Okay,
developer has a meeting.
that will
It'll
work.
be a 6-lane, divided median.
Okay, does that satisfy council?
It'll end up very much, pardon me, it'll be very much like McDowell and the hospital situation where you have to come back in and retrofit it. You have 6 lanes at 40 miles an hour on a curve, or coming out of a curve.
So how are we handling the hospital cost?
The
Oh, that's
hospital
another issue.
is retrofitting and paying the cost
The
of,
hospital
Right.
developer that.
right.
So I guess what we're asking is that the developer is ready to step up to the plate to, at that time, to,
Mr. Vice Mayor, members of council, we're talking about a left turn only on Estrella Parkway. We're not talking about full movement, so
No.
No.
You're talking now, they've moved to
we're talking
Goodyear
a Goodyear Boulevard.
If you get a full movement on
that's
the
going to be between
boulevard.
two signals already, correct? You talk about a third one there?
Yep.
Harrison and
No.
Goodyear
We're on
Boulevard,
Goodyear Boulevard North.
north, yes.
So you're talking if a left in, left out movement there, you're saying that you would need a signal at Estrella Parkway, Goodyear Boulevard, and this entrance, and, sorry, Dustin, you just totally took away my reference point, Centera. So you're talking
There's one here
Centera,
already.
1, 2, 3?
There could very well be a third one right there.
Yeah.
And here's my challenge, is we sit here and we espouse all this traffic development, yet, I scream out a Cracker Barrel at 7:30 in the morning just fine, and there's no traffic light there. And so we talk about standards, yet we're not adhering to you guys know, honestly, I bring this up time and time again in these meetings, but I will point out for every example that you throw at me as a standard, I'll point out an example in the city that we haven't adhered to the standard.
Right.
And now we're splitting
Right.
hairs, negotiating the cost of a signal. I don't know. Anyway, it's rhetorical at best.
Councilman,
Just a comment to Councilmember Antoniak. We're talking a residential area, and I think that's where the concern is. You're talking about the restaurant coming out of Cracker Barrel.
it's three.
Yeah, yes, there'll be retail there on Estrella Parkway, but weren't you referring to coming across the 6 lanes at Goodyear Boulevard? And the fact that there will be 6 lanes there, and you've got residential on both sides? That's why we were talking about another stoplight there.
Mayor, council members, as a point of clarification, we're talking about a proposed signal here at the intersection.
Right,
And then one on
proposed,
Goodyear Boulevard.
exactly.
and one on Harrison.
At this time, there isn't a warrant study to require a study at this point. It would just be a full movement break, left in, left out, right in, right out.
That's all that's necessary.
And if we do come back later, and there's a traffic study that warrants one on Goodyear Boulevard, then once again, going back to the beginning of this conversation, who would absorb the cost of that?
The city.
City, okay.
Or we could just close the median break at that point, because if it warranted it, and there's a safety issue, we could close the break.
Yeah,
I would love to, but I've never seen a council take that position.
I haven't seen that either, so.
I think that, if I may, the idea of the left in, left out notion that staff was proposing is that people can, in fact, if they need to get to Yuma, they can always go to the middle road, they could, or go down Estrella Parkway and then make a left on. They can make a right out over to Estrella Parkway, they can go south to Yuma, they can turn left. That was the notion that staff was proposing, or if they want to, they could go all the way out and go, to the west side, to the other boulevard. There were other ways that people could get in and out of the facility to minimize that kind of traffic, or people could go up to the road that supports this project on the north edge and then come back down to the traffic signal. That was the basis, I believe, that staff had suggested, that it'd be a left in, left out, or right in, left in only, and a right out only.
correct.
That was the suggestion.
Okay.
Okay, now-
Call for the motion.
Well, just a minute, let's make certain we understand this.
Yeah.
There'll be a left in, left out on That median break, I don't know what that street is. On Estrella Parkway.
No, there's only a left in on Estrella.
I mean, a left in and,
So southbound traffic on Estrella would make a left turn into the development.
That's number 13.
that's number 13.
And number 14.
Okay.
That's South Australia.
Okay, and then, assuming that, there will be traffic lights on Harrison and Estrella Parkway.
The discussion.
There will be a traffic light on Goodyear Boulevard and Estrella Parkway, and a traffic light on Goodyear Boulevard
Someday.
and this,
Right.
whatever that street is going into there,
Centera Drive.
because we will need those for pedestrian crossings also.
Right.
That is necessary for pedestrian. And I'm very concerned about the pedestrian traffic within this development also. So that would help alleviate pedestrian traffic across Goodyear Boulevard and across Estrella Parkway over on Harrison.
Mayor, Council, that's just one part, I guess one piece of the whole development for the city center, and that's something that staff is looking at, the overall circulation patterns and pedestrian patterns for all four quadrants of the city center.
Yeah, because I don't want us to leave that out.
Excuse me?
I don't want us to leave that
No.
out, because when we consider, we're talking about auto traffic, but there is also pedestrian traffic, and that is a concern also.
You are correct, sir.
So I'm glad you're keeping that in mind. Okay, then that takes care of that part of it.
That's on number 13.
That's on number 13. And then number 15 will be,
With the left in, left out, if I may, Mr. Mayor, effectively what you have created is an opportunity for people to want to go directly to the post office to the south and get into the back door of the post office.
Okay,
As
so that-
opposed to making a right, going out to Estrella Parkway, making a left, and using the existing access point into the post office.
okay. So then we'll just leave,
Well,
15.
and the applicant has requested that they have some relief and have a full left in, left out, if I understand correctly.
that's okay. Okay,
Staff is recommending against it. The developer wishes to have relief.
okay. If that is, does that satisfy council? Okay, at this point, then I'd like to bring up the next item having to do with that, and that's the fact that we are, according to code, we are short 61 parking spaces in that development. Does staff see this as a problem? When you're mixing retail with residential, that could be a problem. I've seen it in other areas.
Mayor, council members, you're correct that in the proposal submitted by the applicant, that the combined number of provided parking spaces and that which is required on this site is less than what the ordinance requires collectively. In the two uses on the property, in the multifamily and the apartments, they have actually an excess of number of provided parking spaces by 25 or 23. In the commercial area, they are deficient by a large number. I wanted to point out, though, that calculation of the deficiency on the commercial is based upon an assumption of a best guess of what restaurant use might go into the commercial. Restaurant requires a much higher parking ratio than retail. Retail is 1 for 300 square feet. Restaurants are 1 for 50 square feet. They've done a very conservative estimate on like 30% restaurant use within in that commercial area, and that's resulted in those numbers. If you calculate it at 100% retail, no restaurants, they actually would have an excess number of parking spaces in the commercial. That combined with the fact that this is a mixed-use development and we're trying to encourage pedestrian use from the apartments to the commercial throughout the city center area, staff concluded that as is supported by the city center master plan, that shared parking models are supported for mixed use. The staff was comfortable with the numbers. It was like an 8% overall reduction in parking spaces, and shared parking models generally allow like a 10% reduction. So staff was supporting it for that reason.
And you don't feel that there'd be a problem with the residential above the retail if they come in some night and there's a big party at the restaurants and they can't find a place to park, that we aren't going to hear about it?
Mayor, Council, there's no guarantee you won't hear about anything, but situations do occur. But generally, the zoning ordinances and its parking calculations are based upon, generally, that result in over-parking more so than under-parking. So staff is comfortable that unless there was a very high occupancy of restaurant use, which would be nice, but if 50% of the retail, of that commercial was restaurants, then we might have a problem. But if they maintain 30% or less, I would not foresee that we have a parking problem in the commercial area.
I believe we talked to the city center about shared parking, and the development of the city center, we're going to certainly look into that, because we certainly don't want streets of parking lots. So we will do a number of shared.
Councilman Lord, you're correct. In the city center master plan is encouraged, if not required, to provide what's called a shared parking model between the residential and commercial and office uses, so that when offices are closed, you have a great amount of parking for restaurants and commercial uses, and vice versa. And those models generally work very well.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other item on that? Yes.
Get ready for a motion.
Okay, well, could I have a motion? Would you like to make a motion?
I would move that we approve the request for approval of Centerra 1 and 2 site plan and proposed 33.43 acre mixed-use development consisting of 23 apartment building and 508 dwelling units and 3 mixed-use buildings generally located east of Estrella Parkway and north of Yuma Road within the Centerra PAD, amending stipulation 13 as reflected in the record and discussed by our staff, Bob, and I'm sorry, Bob, I lost your last name, Coons, and deleting stipulation number 15.
And leaving it as is, number 15.
No, I'm making a motion to delete it and allow for some leniency.
I second it.
I have a second. Okay, good. And we have a second from Councilmember Lord. Any other further discussion on this, Council? Yes.
I just think, we're asking folks to be creative in the city center. We're asking folks to go above and beyond. We've got a planning and zoning commissioner here tonight that requested that basically double the improved square footage be added to 3 buildings. And if we're sitting here splitting hairs over smaller things with all the audience that we have in the room with us tonight that represent the multitude of developers that will be around these street corners, I would hope that we would set the stage that it would be a smoother track in the city center.
Okay. So we have a motion and second to approve Centerra 1 and 2 site plan, proposed 33.43 acre mixed use as stated, with the changes in the stipulation 13 and deleting stipulation 15. We need a roll call vote on this. Do we need a roll call vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Lord?
Aye.
Mayor Cavalier?
Aye.
Passed 5-0.
Just for the record, I'm not adverse to revisiting this when we do improve it to 6 lanes and if we have a safety issue.
Okay, at this time,
Myself.
I'm sorry, I'd like to announce, before we go on, I'd like to announce that the last business item, item J, I'm sorry, item J will be deleted by request from the Mike Farrett, Mr. Farrett,
No, this is,
not Mr. Farrett, who is it?
Jeff, you can leave.
Jim.
Which item?
Item, tell them.
Last item.
Duke Realty.
Duke
So-
Realty, being delayed.
Agenda item 8J is deleted from tonight's agenda. And I apologize for not doing that sooner. Okay, now if we can move to the business agenda. Get my paper straight here.
Mr. Vice Mayor,
Yes.
you out of order to ask why we're deleting that item J?
Councilmember Scott asked why we are deleting, or we are...
The item relates to Duke Realty. They asked that they be given a little bit more additional time to come back with a change to the language.
Thank you.
They support the project. They just need to be able to have a little bit more time. Their attorneys are in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, thank you.
That satisfy everyone? All right, we're into the business agenda. 9A, this item is to consider adoption of ordinance to rezone 66 acres for Palm Valley Crossing. David Canning will present.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Subject 66-acre PAD amendment area is highlighted in yellow on the projected exhibit and is generally located east of Litchfield Road along the Test Drive and Auto Drive street frontages. As noted in the staff report, the existing 192-acre Palm Valley Crossing PAD was approved in 1998, or rather 1995, with zoning for a mixture of retail, automotive, industrial, and entertainment uses. Since 1995, 2 automotive dealerships, a large shopping center, and numerous retail pad buildings have been constructed throughout the western portion of the center and northern portion. With this PAD amendment request, the applicant is proposing to amend the development standards and the permitted land uses for 66 acres of the Palm Valley Crossing PAD. The details pertaining to this request, staff's analysis, are contained in the staff report. This concludes staff's presentation. The applicant, Stephen Earl, also has a presentation for you tonight.
Thank you. Do I have any comments from the public? Would you like to make it? Earl?
Mayor Cavalier, members of the council, my name is Stephen Earl. I'm here today on behalf of Suncor, the developer of this Palm Valley Crossing project. As the council all knows, when this was approved, it was 200 acres in size. It really did all of the frontages along Litchfield and Van Buren, and they've been fairly successful in being able to develop the frontages. The problem was right here in the center where we didn't have visibility from the freeway or from an arterial street. And we had a very narrow use list of warehousing and offices and distribution centers. We also had the problem that many of the car dealers went a few miles down the way, adjacent to the freeway. So, for the last 10 years, the object was to see what we could do to generate interest in the center of this where we lacked visibility. We met with the owners of the car dealerships. They were desirous to expand the area where we could put car dealers. These ARC elements here mean that we would make auto use is the only type of use in those 2 areas. And then you can see that all the rest we're adding ARC to the right balance, because we believe there's still quite a number of higher-end automobile dealerships that we can still attract. Ones down the street you'll notice are not that type. And so we actually expanded the use list to allow auto uses throughout the interior, because once you come into an auto area, you tend to go around. And so we thought it was important to expand that, and then also allow us to have some other uses, some complementary service commercial uses that would complement that. Now, we were very aware of the neighborhood to the east. We held 2 neighborhood meetings, and of course the neighborhood to the east was most concerned about this lot adjacent to Central Avenue. They asked us for a limitation on some of the uses adjacent to them that would tend to create more noise. And so you'll notice that our PAD amendment lists a whole number of uses that are not permitted on that lot. And then they asked us to raise the wall to 8 feet in height and to make sure that there was additional landscaping outside of that wall to buffer them, which we've done. And that's all now part of the stipulations. So we're in agreement with the staff stipulations. The Planning Commission has recommended approval by unanimous vote. And I'd be glad to respond to any specific questions. We believe we have answered the concerns that were originally raised by our neighbors.
Okay. Do you have anyone else from the audience who wish to make a comment? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title only.
Ordinance 071058, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Goodyear, Maricopa County, Arizona, providing for conditional rezoning to amend the development standards and permitted land uses for 66 acres of the Palm Valley Crossing planned area development, generally located east of Litchfield Road along the Auto Drive and Test Drive street frontages, amending supplementary zoning map number 06020 to provide for the change in zoning, providing separability and providing for an effective date.
Okay, could I have a motion?
Motion to accept ordinance 07-1058 as read by the clerk.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilman Scott and second from Councilwoman Holland. Okay, Council, any questions or comments? Yes, Councilwoman.
Just one question. I noticed that it says motorcycle repair and automotive repair and upholstery are on lot 6.
Right, would not be permitted.
Would not be permitted. It would not be permitted.
If you look in the ordinance, that's not the only ones. We have a list of specifically in your PAD that are not permitted on lot 6. I can show you those if you'd like.
Our COAC does not depict the lot numbers.
No.
Which lot?
Yeah, lot 6 is this lot adjacent to the neighborhood.
Is some of that, not particularly the motorcycle repair, but the automotive repair and upholstering doesn't occur at some of those auto shops, even the high-end ones?
Let me just show you here as we try to hone in on this. There's quite a number there that the neighbors were concerned might create additional noise close to them. Not only motorcycle repair, but auto repair. You can see that bicycles, lawnmower repair. They were concerned. Even health clubs. They thought there would be a lot of in and out traffic associated with health clubs, and since it was immediately adjacent to them, and we do have a requirement as a part of our case. This probably shows it the best. That we maintain this landscape buffer both inside and outside of the perimeter wall. So it's not only a building buffer, but it's a landscape buffer, which we'd agreed to as a part of the case as well, for that same reason, to buffer the neighborhood.
Any other questions? I have one. You mentioned something about the warehousing.
In the initial approval that was given to this case, light industrial, the use list included warehousing as well as wholesaling and some office. That was a very narrow scope of things that could be done in the interior of this Palm Valley Crossing PAD. And that has been our limitation over the years, is that it was a very narrow use list. So what we felt better to do was include the auto-related uses throughout to give us an opportunity to feed in more of the higher-end automobile uses, and also create service commercial uses that were complementary to that. You'll see that the list is...
Warehousing would be complementary to that?
Well, warehousing was the original approval.
Because I don't see that listed anywhere.
Well, in the initial PAD, it was the very narrow use list. In the staff report, it talks about how narrow our opportunities were in the center. Now what we're doing is coming to service commercial by allowing some service commercial uses in that center area.
So you haven't stated whether you disallow or allow.
Well, warehousing is still an allowed use. What we've done is expand, not contract. So there may be the opportunity, although in the last 10 years we've been unable to attract that use because it's an interior location.
Well, I certainly would be against any warehousing in an area like that if we're trying to grow something that is going to upgrade that area.
The likelihood and the purpose behind this application is to allow service commercial uses into the interior because they are complementary.
Okay. That would satisfy me. Okay, any other comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. And we've had our discussion. Now, we'll need a roll call vote on this, City Clerk.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Lord?
Aye.
Councilmember Antoniak?
Aye.
Mayor Cavalier?
Aye.
Passed 5-0.
Okay.
Thank you,
And
Mayor.
record show that it passes 5-0. Thank you.
We also appreciate you reordering the agenda to place this ahead of the general plan amendments. So you may still have to listen to my partner, Mike Curley, but I got enough of him at the office.
All right, next item is item B. This item is to consider adoption resolution for a major amendment to Goodyear General Plan for Madeira. Steve Carestia. Did I pronounce your last name correctly? Carestia?
That was close, Mr. Mayor.
Is that close enough?
That's a polite way of saying no.
I know. I'll talk to him later.
Mr. Mayor, council members, this is a major general plan amendment for Madera. Location is, we do have Channel Heights Road on the north, Patterson on the south. Then we go on the east, basically Waterman Wash, west to about 175th Avenue Climate. This is the land use plan for Madera. It's been updated since last you've seen it. We still retain the mix of varying residential densities with the commercial core at this intersection here. And this plan is generally consistent with the circulation plan for the South Goodyear area. The one exception is Hunt Road. Through Madera, Hunt Road is shown as an arterial, basically from the western boundary to about the Saraville alignment, then a collector east to the Wash. As you can kind of see on this land use plan here, no roadway is proposed along the Hunt Road alignment. At this time, staff is recommending that the Hunt Road alignment be shown as recommended on the circulation plan. However, this is a general plan level of review. Once rezoning application is received, staff can take a closer look at it, depending on site-specific criteria, topography, drainage. Staff will evaluate the appropriate alignment for this roadway. And such a change, should one be needed, would not require any sort of amendment to the general plan. Other items that we'll be looking at once a rezoning application received for this item is the disposition of the Waterman Wash, what level of improvement to the floodplain and the wash will we like to see, also provision of public services to this property. However, at this time, with this general plan amendment, staff and the Planning Commission did find that it met the evaluation criteria, and we are recommending approval of this amendment. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my presentation. Staff and applicant are available for any questions.
Thank you. Okay, anyone from the public would like to make comment?
Mr. Member, members of the council, Dustin Jones, One Arizona Center, on behalf of the developer Ariad for the Madera development. Appreciate staff working with us over the past few months on this application. Once upon a time when we submitted this application, we were at the end of the road behind Estrella Mountain Ranch, and now we've become an infill project, and we're happy to come before you in the middle of Sonoran Valley and Estrella Mountain Ranch.
Is this still in the U.S.?
It's your city, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'm happy to be here. One of the points that, again, want to clarify that staff has already put on the record today is that on the general plan map, land use map, Hunt Road is not shown as an arterial. The circulation plan that will be approved through these different applications before you would show this as a major arterial on that alignment. We, through our PAD application, would potentially deviate from that intensity of a road, not necessarily being an arterial. Looking at our application, looking at what's going on south of here, there's a lot of BLM land that's going to remain vacant. And we would submit that there wouldn't be a need for a 6-lane divided road there if everything to the south potentially would be vacant and not being developed with the intensity of a urban or suburban area. So we will address that. We'll address that issue through our PAD application as we put together the application submitted to staff, and noting that it would not require any type of a general plan amendment, neither major nor minor, if we deviate from that. So we appreciate staff acknowledging that this evening, and thank you for your support.
Okay. Anyone else would like to make a comment from the public? Seeing none, I'd like to ask for a motion.
Read the resolution.
We need to read the resolution.
I'm sorry, we haven't read that. Would you read the resolution, please? By title only.
Resolution 07118, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Goodyear, Maricopa County, Arizona, approving a major amendment to Goodyear General Plan 2003-2013 to designate a mix of residential, commercial, and open space land uses on approximately 2,407 acres for a master development known as Madeira, generally located between Chandler Heights Road on the north and Patterson Road on the south, and between Waterman Wash on the east and 175th Avenue on the west, as described on the exhibit labeled Madeira Preliminary Land Use and Circulatory Concept, dated January 4, 2007, modified to identify Hunt Road as an arterial street from the development's western boundary to the Cerebral Avenue, 163rd Avenue alignment, and then a collector street from that point east to the Waterman Wash, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Could I please have a motion?
Motion to accept resolution 07-118 as read by the clerk.
Second?
Yes, just not quick.
I have a motion from Councilman Scott and a second Councilman Lord. At this time, Council, do you have any question, discussion, comments? All right. With this, I have one question. On the Hunt Road alignment, is that south of that, is that on the border of the BLM land?
We're 1 mile south.
The BLM land is 1 mile south?
Yes.
If another developer comes in and wants to develop that land south of Hunt Road or Highway, would this developer then share in the cost of half the street or highway between those two developments? We approve this without a highway or without a road, without having the developer pay for a road.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Mr. Mayor,
Well, I'll ask the city manager if I would defer this to the city manager.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it all depends on the schedule of construction and development. If the property to the south were to occur after the Madeira project got underway, it's most likely they would not. The party to the south would be then faced with having to do major upgrades on their own property because collector streets are much narrower than arterials. So you'd end up shifting a lot of the burden onto the property to the south if you had to go to an arterial.
So they'd be fully responsible for any road construction through that area on Hunt Road.
It depends on how much of the Madeira property, if they were building a collector and you had to upgrade it to an arterial, basically the property to the south would be paying a lot more than they'd be paying a little bit more than what a 50-50 share would be.
So with your development, would there be a block wall all the way across? I mean, there would be no access or entry into a proposed highway on Hunt Road. Is that true? Someone want to answer that?
Question to Dustin.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I apologize as I was distracted. Would you please repeat the question?
Hunt Highway, as it's called in here. If someone developed parcel south of Hunt Highway, and they put their own highway, their road in there, 4-lane or whatever, and they were responsible for the cost of that. Would there be any access from your development into that, or would this be a block wall? It's not going to be built with the possible access to that road.
Mr. Vice Mayor, your question is precisely why we would propose to deal with those details at the zoning stage of the application. Staff has indicated we can't dial in that far south or that far into the project in these details because we just haven't done the analysis. So at this general plan stage, we've requested it not be on the map, but when we come back with our PAD, we'll have all the answers for you.
Okay, thank you very much. That's satisfying.
Everything southwest of Cotton and Hunt is BLM. So
Right.
when
Well,
you're
not-
looking at this picture, majority of this is, I mean.
Majority of it is, but there
Yeah,
is
to
a
the
parcel.
west is BLM.
There is a parcel that isn't.
It's very tempted to remind Mr. Jones that he described this as an infill project just a few minutes ago.
Right, I understand. This time, any other comments from the public? I'll ask the clerk to read the resolution.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Lord?
Aye.
Councilmember Antoniak?
Aye.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Mayor Cavalier?
Aye.
Passed 5-0.
Item C, item to consider adoption of resolution for a major amendment to Goodyear General Plan for 867 acres in the South Goodyear area. Katie Wilkins is going to present staff presentation.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this general plan amendment application is split among 3 parcels, all located in the South Goodyear area. The first parcel, Parcel B, is recommending 78 acres to low moderate density residential located at the northeast corner of Perryville Road and Chandler Heights Road. The second parcel grouping, Parcel D, is recommending 554 acres to a mix of residential, commercial, and open space designations. And the third parcel grouping, Parcel E, is recommending 235 acres to a mix of residential, commercial, and open space designations. This general plan amendment is consistent with the South Goodyear circulation plan, and staff has also found that it has met evaluation criteria, and staff recommends approval at this time. Myself and the applicant are available for questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you. Do I have any comments from the public? Any questions, comments from the public? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to read the resolution by title only.
Resolution 07-1119, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Goodyear, Maricopa County, Arizona, approving a major amendment to the Goodyear General Plan 2003 to 2013 to designate residential, commercial, and open space land uses on approximately 867 acres in 3 parcel groupings in the South Goodyear area as defined and described in the RVR parcels B, D, and E conceptual land use plans, dated, received January 8, 2007, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, call for a motion.
Motion to accept resolution 07-1119
Second.
as read by the clerk.
Oh,
And
sorry.
is already seconded by Councilmember Lord.
I apologize.
Motion by Councilmember Scott and seconded by Councilmember Lord. Okay, open for council discussion. Questions, comments? Okay. Seeing, yes, seeing none, I'll call for vote.
Councilmember Lord?
Aye.
Councilmember Antoniak?
Just be clear, the motion on the table is 07-1119?
That's correct.
Aye.
Councilmember Scott? Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Mayor Cavalier?
Aye.
Passed 5-0.
Okay. D, we'll go on to the next one. This item is to consider the adoption of resolution for major amendment to the Goodyear General Plan for 1,400 acres in Rainbow Valley area. Mr. Canning will present staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. The 1,400-acre general plan amendment area is located west of Perryville Road and south of Ocotillo Road. With this general plan amendment request, the applicant is proposing to expand the Goodyear planning area boundary and to assign a mixture of residential and commercial land uses on the subject property. The applicant has also formulated a street network plan, which is in compliance with the final South Goodyear Circulation Framework Plan developed for the city by RBF Consulting. On December 18, 2006, the City Council voted to continue the subject GPA request, and on January 17, 2007, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval unanimously. Staff is also recommending approval based upon the finding that the request is in conformance with the general plan amendment approval criteria. This concludes my presentation. The applicant also may have a presentation, please. Thank you.
Okay. Do I have any comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, unless, okay, Mr. Curtis would rather not, we'll go on. I ask the clerk to read the resolution by title only.
Resolution 07-1120, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Goodyear, Maricopa County, Arizona, approving a major amendment to Goodyear General Plan 2003-2013 to extend the city's planning area and to designate residential and commercial land uses on approximately 1,400 acres of land generally located west of the Perryville Road alignment and south of the Octillo Road alignment in the Rainbow Valley area as depicted on the RVR parcel, a conceptual land use plan dated received January 8, 2007, and providing for an effective date.
I'd like to have a motion.
Motion to accept Resolution 07-1120.
Have a second.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilman Scott, second from Councilwoman Holland. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for vote. Ask the clerk, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Okay, who made the motion?
Council Scott, and seconded by Holland.
Okay, Councilmember Antoniak.
Aye.
Councilmember Scott.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Lord. Aye. Mayor Cavalier.
Aye.
Passed 5-0.
Now, staff has asked that we change E and F around, so we'll go to F first. This item is to consider the adoption of resolution for a major amendment to the Goodyear General Plan, altering the proposed alignments for Loop 303 freeway and several arterial streets within the southern portion of the Goodyear planning area. Fahad will present staff presentation.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, council members. I'll begin by setting the parameters for you real quick. It's about a 55-60 square mile area bound by Patterson Road to the south. Just north of Pecos Road actually would be Narramore Road to the north here. Litchfield Road to the east, and 187th Avenue, or actually a little further west, 203rd Avenue, and or Tut Hill Road if you prefer, to the west. I will emphasize that with this general plan amendment, the applicant is not requesting any amendments to the land uses that are currently set forth in the general plan, but an amendment to the circulation element of the general plan. The primary focus of this general plan amendment request is the realignment of the Loop 303 freeway. It'll basically be, for the most part, paralleling a Waterman Wash to the west. And also, with that, there are 8 intersections that are proposed as well. And also along with this request is a request to reclassify a few of the arterials within this area. This is predicated upon the South Goodyear Transportation or Circulation Framework Plan, and it does meet the goals, policy, and objectives, or their intent set forth in the general plan. And with that, we'll recommend approval. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any comments from the public?
Thank you, Mayor. Ed Bull, 702 East Osmond, on behalf of the applicants. If you need a presentation, I'll give it. Otherwise, we thank your council, commission, staff, and everybody else for a lot of work on this plan, and we request your approval accordingly.
Thank you. If we could have the clerk Read the resolution by title only.
Resolution 071122, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Goodyear, Maricopa County, Arizona, approving a major amendment to the Goodyear General Plan 2003-2013 to alter the proposed alignments for the Loop 303 freeway and several arterial streets within the southern portion of the Goodyear planning area, generally bounded by the Narramore Road alignment to the north, Patterson Road alignment to the south, 139th Avenue to the east, and Tut Hill Road to the west, as described in the exhibit labeled Revised Estrella Mountain Ranch Transportation GPA dated January 8, 2007, and providing for an effective date.
Ours says April 3rd, 2006. What is?
You talking about the last?
No, she
Mine says
I know, but
January 8.
January 8th.
we're on A,
F.
F.
She's reading the effective date, not the collective.
Okay. All right, that's not the effective date. I'm sorry.
Motion to accept Resolution 07-1122 as read by the clerk.
Second. Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Scott and a second by Councilman Antoniak. Council discussion? Seeing none, ask for a vote. This will be a roll call vote.
Councilmember Antoniak?
Aye.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Lord? Aye. Mayor Cavalier?
Aye.
Pass 5-0.
Now, you bet. Now we'll go to E. Agenda item E. This item is to consider a resolution for major amendment Goodyear General Plan for 999 acres in Rainbow Valley Master Plan Community. And Mr. Tavisoli will present again.
Thanks again, Vice Mayor, council members. Real quick again, I'll set forth the parameters. You're looking at Queen Creek Road to the south, and just north of this 40 acres here is the Willis Road alignment. Rainbow Valley Road to the east, and I believe this is 187th Avenue to the west. All of the general plan designations that you see here on this map, which is the general plan amendment request, it currently exists in the general plan for this area, but one, and that would be the low, medium density residential, which is being introduced in this area. With this general plan amendment request, the density will be increased to about 3.17 dwellings to the acre, whereas currently it is at 2.16 dwelling units to the acre. I will emphasize that the open space allocation will remain the same at 154.5 acres. With that, I'll conclude this presentation. I should also mention that the Loop 303 alignment that you see here on this map is predicated upon the circulation study that you see before you. And I believe Bob would like to make a few comments about that.
Mayor, Council, a brief footnote for the record. As Farhad indicated, this general plan amendment is affected by the draft Loop 303 alignment that's reflected in the circulation plan. For your information, the property owner to the northwest of this property has had some concerns with that. Only concerns in that property owner is maybe a little bit further along in their development plans know the topography in the area may require a slight zigzag in that final alignment. And I'm just here to indicate to you, as Steve Correcchia earlier indicated, that we're at a planning level study at this time. At the time of zoning and development, the precise alignments and the configurations of the 303 and the other major arterials will be determined. And that with the topography in there, there may be a little slight curve in that freeway, and that will be determined at a later date.
Thank you. Okay, this time, is there any other comments from the public? At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion.
No, read the resolution.
I'm sorry. Clerk, read the resolution by title only.
Resolution 07-1121, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Goodyear, Maricopa County, Arizona, approving a major amendment to the Goodyear General Plan 2003-2013 to designate a mix of low-density residential low, medium density residential, medium density residential, medium high density residential, community commercial and open space land uses on approximately 999 acres in the Rainbow Valley Master Plan community, generally located between Wallace Road on the north, Rainbow Valley Road on the east, Queen Creek Road on the south, and Perryville Road on the west, as shown on exhibit entitled Rainbow Valley General Plan Amendment dated June 2006 and providing for an effective date.
Can I have a motion?
Motion to accept Resolution 07-1121 as read by the clerk.
A second? Second. I have a motion by Councilman Scott, second by Councilman Antoniak. Any council discussion on this? Seeing none, ask for a roll call vote.
Councilmember Antoniak?
Aye.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Lord?
Aye.
Mayor Cavalier?
Aye.
Passed 5-0.
Okay, we'll go on to agenda G.
Vice Mayor Cavalier, may I just raise a short point of order?
Yes, sir.
Mike Curley and I were both here on 3 items, and neither one of us said a thing all night. I just thought that would be a record.
Well, I kind of missed that, too.
Don't know if that's
But
good.
thank you very much.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
I don't know what you say. Okay, this is item G. And this is, get this straight. Well, these two items are related to office condominiums in Palm Place Plaza. David Canning will present both preliminary and final plan, and council will take separate action on each. So you'll present both of these, G and H, together, and we will take separate action on each. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. The subject 4.8 acre property is generally located at the southeast corner of 145th Avenue and McDowell Road, and is known as Palm Place Plaza, a professional office development that will consist of 7 single-story condominium buildings ranging in size from just over 5,000 square feet to 8,000 square feet. The applicant is requesting approval of a condominium preliminary plat as well as a condominium final plat that will permit the sale of office condominium units. On January 17, 2007, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this request. With stipulations, staff is also recommending approval of the condominium preliminary plat as well as the final plat. This concludes my presentation. The applicants and staff are available for your questions.
Okay. For the record, we are being asked to approve preliminary plat and final plat, and we will be taking a separate vote on each. So at this point, I would like to ask if there's any other comments from the public on either G or H, the preliminary plat or the final plat. This time I'd ask for a
Motion.
Mr. Mayor,
we need a
motion.
Motion.
I'd move that we approve the preliminary plat for an office condominium subdivision known as Palm Place Plaza and approximately 4.82 acres, generally located at the southeast corner of 145th Avenue and McDowell Road with general commercial C2 district.
Have a second. Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Antoniak and a second from Councilman Scott. Council discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move that we approve the final plat for the same office condominium subdivision known as Palm Place Plaza on approximately 4.82 acres, generally located at the southeast corner of 145th Avenue and McDowell Road within the general commercial C2 district.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Antoniak, second from Councilman Scott. Any council discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Show that both motions passed by a vote of 5-0. Okay. Agenda I. This item is to consider adoption of resolution approving MOU with Federated Corporate Services Incorporated, and Ms. Childs will present staff presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Would like to welcome tonight to town some very special guests as part of this project, and I'm going to do that and allow them to say a few words at the conclusion of my presentation. As you know, we had originally scheduled to have 2 MOUs, so my presentation reflects 2 MOUs, but one of those, as you know, we are working on the language still on the Duke MOU, so that will come at a later date. But at this time, I'd like to present what we've been calling Project Triple Crown, which is actually with Federated Corporate Services. Project Facts, as you know, they're a major New York Stock Exchange client, $20 billion in sales. This project involves an investment of $100 million in land, building, and equipment, so substantial investment, and will create 875 jobs with an annual payroll of over $13 million, so a great project for the city of Goodyear. The facility, Phase 1, is 603,000 square feet. It is a distribution center for internet sales, .com sales for the company to fulfill their Western United States orders. Phase 2, if it is completed at a later date, will be a 351,000 square foot addition with about a 25% projected increase in employment. This project has been a while in coming, as they sometimes are. Wanted to acknowledge Brad Schmidt is here from GPEC, and GPEC was the originator of this project, so it was a lead that came from them. Just wanted to let you know that they were involved early on in this project and brought it to the city of Goodyear for consideration. Duke Realty's Goodyear Crossing was one of the finalists in this project. It was originally a 3-state search: Arizona, Nevada, and California. The Goodyear site acquisition and some of the other costs, including APS costs and site development work, were higher than the Phoenix site, the other shortlisted site, by $6.5 million. Just wanted to orient you to where we are as far as the site. As you see sorry, I don't have this for Elmo, but as you see down at the intersection of Cotton Lane and MC85, the pink pink-colored square is Goodyear Crossing, Duke Realty. So it's down at the lower left-hand corner of your image there. Goodyear Crossing, that's a bit closer, just across the street, just across Cotton Lane, east of the Rubbermaid facility. You can see, and the red mark, the star, actually shows where the facility will be located within the property. Entire property is 292 acres. Again, just for your orientation, that is shows the site plan, the original 650,000 square feet, and then the plan for expansion of 350,000 square feet there on the site, which is approximately 53 acres. Again, another site plan for Goodyear Crossing, and again, site plan showing the facility and parking area. Just wanted to go over some of the deal points briefly from the MOU. I know, we've been talking about this project and trying to get it done from a city standpoint internally for a while, but wanted to make the council familiar with the MOU points. City reimburses construction sales tax for Phase 1. That's $920,000 approximately. That's our estimate for now of the construction sales tax reimbursement to the company. Phase 2, if it is completed, again, $791,000, plus the city's portion, which is 25%. The other 75% goes out to consultants, but the city typically gets 25% of the plan and permit review fees. So you can see there, total Phase 1 and Phase 2 reimbursements, $2.1 million, and that's geared toward the job creation. Again, going back to that 875 jobs to start, over 1,000 jobs contemplating Phase 2. Project deal points with Duke Realty, as I said, these are still kind of fine-tuning these in negotiation. Public infrastructure and right-of-way acquisition is what we're contemplating, a $5.7 million early building of Goodyear Crossing infrastructure now, and that the city abandons the Broadway alignment, the right-of-way. So we'll come back to council with those points and others. Project benefits of this project obviously enhances the city's image, high-profile, prestigious, high-quality company, capital investment of north of $100 million, and job creation of 870 new jobs. Some other benefits that we thought of: expanded bond capacity, new assessed valuation for that property, that Goodyear Crossing gets to be a catalyst really for development in that region, and planned spec buildings on that site are much more marketable. And it also kicks off our Goodyear employment corridor, the 4,000 acres we've designated to be future employment land. This is a great first project. So our staff recommendation then is that tonight you approve an MOU with Federated Corporate Services for the economic incentives that I've previously outlined for their facility location. And secondly, that we come back to you with a MOU or development agreement at a later date for your consideration with Duke Realty.
Thank you very much. Do I have any comments from the public? Yes.
Thank you, Holly. Holly actually covered quite a bit of the things.
You have your name and...
Yep. My name is Kevin Herrick, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Logistics for Federated's direct-to-customer business. So very happy to be here this evening. I appreciate your time. As Holly talked about, these processes do take quite some time. Actually, Charn Jackson is with me. Charn leads our real estate search department for Logistics Group, and Jim McGraw, to Charn's left, is our consultant helping us with this project. We started in earnest greater than 6 months ago. It was actually 4 states that we canvassed, 10-plus cities, and where we wanted to take our brand. And the short of it, the conclusion of it is that your city is where we want to bring our business. It is a very, very large investment. I'm not going to retread over the numbers that were already covered, but we don't casually spend $100 million. $100 million is a lot of company, even a company as prestigious as Federated. And more importantly, from my perspective, as the runner of this business, what I cared about was the quality of the labor, the quantity of the labor, and whether or not the community that we were going to put our building in was brand right for us. And I actually remember back, I think it was in October when we met, I gave a speech to Mayor Kavanaugh and the team that was there at the time, and what I covered was the growth of this thing called Macy's.com. Today we're a $400 million brand business. We're going to be over $1 billion in less than 2 years. It's very fast growth. I don't have the infrastructure today to be able to support that growth. And what I spoke of that afternoon was how we're doing large amounts of investment in people, processes, systems, technology to get us to where we needed to be. And then the mayor at that time gave a short story actually about your city and the growth that you're doing. And the analogy was this. It was there. I mean, what you're doing as a city and how you're growing, and what we're doing with our business and how we're growing, the fit just felt right that day. I was very pleased to see that the economic package has been brought to the table. Makes you not only from a qualitative standpoint where we want to bring our business, but now from a quantitative standpoint where we want to bring our business to. So let me just quickly go through my notes. We actually have 2 mock-ups, trying if you could get them, of one of them was just the layout of the building and what it would look like on the pad. But the other is actually some of the technology that we have in our facility in Tennessee. We're actually in the middle of a 3-year effort to build 3 facilities similar to what we're going to build here in Goodyear, pending your approval.
Yeah.
So what you see in these pictures, what I wanted to try to convey is that this is not a large, dirty warehouse that cross-docks freight. And for those that don't do what I do for a living might not immediately grasp that. But what this facility is a very highly automated, world-class pick, pack, and ship warehouse. We actually call ourselves the store of the Internet. So if you were to go online, the only employee that actually touches you as a customer is the people that work for me in our warehouses. And the technology that Charn has in front of him enables us to do that with speed and with precision. As 2 examples that I'll call out, the sortation system that we have that will go into this building will truly be a one-of-a-kind when this building opens. If you've been to Epcot Center where there's a monorail that literally runs on a magnetic device, that's what this sort of does. There's no chain, there's no power. It runs on magnet-driven technology. It'll be the first of its kind in the industry. More importantly, and it's a little bit farther down, what this picture is here is over 600 packing locations where a customer's order comes together. What's unique about our building when we open it is the packers that do this for our customers' benefit will have one singular order brought to them at this place versus other warehouses, including one of mine today, where they have to sort over 30 customers' orders by hand which adds time and adds errors. This building is built for speed, it's built for precision, and that's what we're going to be doing when we come here. So it's about investing in our business, it's about investing in our growth. Holly already covered the statistics, but over 800 new jobs, 25 of which are salaried managers. These aren't people that I'm relocating here from elsewhere in the country. These are jobs that are going to be posted and hired, hopefully from expertise within the community. We're extremely excited about being able to come here, not to mention the halo impact of the multiplier of construction trades and the travel that comes in on the spending that we'll do, obviously in restaurants and hotels and the like, and golf courses, I would hope, add along the way. And as Holly mentioned, we're not done. This business that I've already mentioned is growing to be greater than $1 billion. That is the layup. We know we're going to hit that from our sales, and the reason that you might not know about our company is we bought another company called the May Corporation a little bit over a year ago. And basically in half the United States, Macy's had no presence. We do now today. The day that this happened, in September 9th, when we converted hundreds of stores from what was another company name to Macy's, our internet sales doubled overnight. And that's without investment in things like marketing. And when we turn on that marketing lever and we do things like advertise our stores and our internet as a combined strategy, we think billions is easily in the play, and that's when the expansion that Holly talked about comes into light. And so we would like to acquire a site that meets our needs in the near term, and also in what I view as a pretty short term, 5 to 7 years, be able to expand and create even more jobs. So 10 plus cities, 4 plus states, we've gone all over the western United States. As Charan talked about, the reason this is so important to us, 30% of our customers live on the western half of the United States. We don't serve these customers well today because we ship them their product from too far away. So it takes too long to get their product to meet their needs. We're going to fix that with a large investment, and we would love for that to be in your community, because we believe your community is brand right, and it is a perfect match for what we would like to be able to do. So we hope to get your support today. Thank you. Any questions that I can answer about what we're doing?
Welcome to the community.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Is there anyone else from the community that would like to make a comment? At this time, I'd ask the clerk to read the resolution by title only. Oh, we do have another one? I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
My name is Mike Ferret. I'm a Vice President of Leasing and Development with Duke Realty. And I just wanted to reiterate, though our MOU isn't before you today, I wanted to make sure that I did speak up briefly on behalf of Duke and reiterate how unbelievably excited we are to have a position here in Goodyear, number one, and hopefully be able to welcome the Federated team to that location. I don't think giddy probably is the word that generally gets thrown around in council meetings, but we are extremely excited, and Mr. Cleveland and Ms. Childs and Mr. Kraus and their whole team has done a remarkable job in representing the site and the city, and these guys are pros at what they do, and usually that means they're pretty fastidious in their requirements, and everyone from Mr. Cleveland on down has been unbelievably helpful to Duke and to, I think I can speak for the Federated guys as well, in making this a reality. So we plan to be before you again here at next meeting with either the MOU, but hopefully the full-on development agreement for you all to approve. And if we can do that, that would save you all seeing us twice, once for the MOU and another time for the development agreement. So I'm sure you'd agree that should be our goal. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them, but I did want to go on the record and let you know how excited we were.
Here too.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I ask the clerk to read the resolution.
Resolution 07-1124, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Goodyear approving a memorandum of understanding with Federated Corporate Services Incorporated, providing for economic incentives, authorizing the city manager to execute the memorandum of understanding, authorizing the city manager or his designee to prepare and execute a final economic incentive agreement consistent with the terms of the memorandum of understanding, and providing for an effective date.
I have a motion.
Motion to accept resolution 07-1124 is read by the clerk.
Second.
Brenda said second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Scott and a second from Councilwoman Holland. Council discussion. Any questions, any comments? Yes,
I just would reiterate Councilmember Lord's discussion, greeting, welcome to the city. I don't know if y'all are based where Brian Blue is, but walk down the hall, tell him what a good opportunity there is here. I know you know Brian, and he does your new store openings, and we'd love to see a Macy's store committed just north of where you're at. So walk down the hall, tell them about your good experience, tell them about our good staff, and the process you've been through, and hopefully we can double the effort for Macy's out here in Goodyear.
Process, I'm remiss that I forgot to thank the city manager and the team. Thank you very much. I don't want to not emphasize that point enough. We've dealt with a large number of communities in this process. Your team is excellent.
Yeah, he wants that one on the record.
All of that
on the record. Thank you, Mr. Cleveland, and your staff.
Let's have it on the record.
In all seriousness, from California to Nevada to Salt Lake City and Utah, and from the gamut of bureaucracy to business-friendly and efficient, and business-friendly and efficient is clearly what this town is about. I'm greatly appreciative of everything you've done. So thank you as well. Appreciate your time and everything you've done.
Okay. Yes, Councilman Scott.
I'd like to thank Holly for her presentation, and also Federation. I have a quick question, though. You're going to dump a large number of sales onto FedEx, UPS. Do you notify them in advance as to what's happening here?
Absolutely.
Because this has got to probably double their volume.
Sure. We've actually done due diligence on their induction hubs in this market.
Could you, we don't have that on record.
Sorry.
Please answer that at the microphone, if you would, please.
The question was, have we done due diligence on our small package carriers? And absolutely yes. They're actually strategic allies of ours, and we've done due diligence homework on their capabilities to handle the volume, and the answer is yes.
And you mentioned a layup.
Yes.
Are you familiar with those?
I am. I prefer to don't, actually. So,
you probably don't have a problem doing that.
I can handle that a little bit.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Councilwoman Hall.
Well, as a woman of the ages here, I just want to say that over the holidays, I probably did 95% of my shopping over the internet. So just to make sure that you know that you're encouraged and you have plenty of support in this area, right, Councilman Lord? I mean,
The shopper here, yes.
Yep. And so this is just such a convenient thing, and as well as for, working people and everything, and know that the quality is high, and I think that's very, very important to us. So, yes, we are giddy about you guys coming to our community, and we really look forward to you relocating here.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions?
No, I just want to say welcome to the community, and Holly, I want to say to you, thanks for all the hard work to bring this company to Goodyear. I'm amazed that a company as large as this realized that a little place like Goodyear even existed, but you found us, and we appreciate it, and I think you'll note more appreciation, even greater, after you move here and you get things rolling. So, thanks so much for coming. Any other comments? Yes.
I just want to reiterate to Holly and the team, you've taken a lot of comments in the last year or two. Stand up there, Holly. Take some credit here. And you tried to explain to us the direction you were going in, looking for quality, and you achieved it. And it's a feather in your cap, and we thank you and the rest of the staff and the team that worked with her. It's just great. We appreciate such a quality company coming to a very quality community.
Anything else? This time I'll call for a vote. We need a roll call vote on this.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Lord? Aye. Councilmember Antoniak?
Aye.
Mayor Cavalier?
Aye.
Pass 5-0.
Okay, we go to item 10 now, and I want to first, before we go into the information items, I want to thank everyone, staff and all our guests, for putting up with me as vice mayor tonight, my lack of experience running a council meeting, but Anyway, thanks a lot, and I appreciate it. We changed the information items to the end of the meeting purposely so that we could facilitate this thing and make it faster. So at this point, are there any comments or commendations, report on current events, presentations by council members, staff, or to the public? Yeah, do you have something, Councilman?
Yes, I just wanted to bring up that I have attended the CAG meeting this past week. I'm now a new member. Thank you, David Awoski. I see he's not here, but he's seeming to talk all of us into doing these things, and to Dr. Scott. This will have to do with the Superfund site and, of course, the movement of the plume, and it fits right in with the water area that I've been working. So there you go, Sean. I'm hanging in there. And I also was asked by the police chief in the city of Goodyear to get involved with the Victims Advocacy Program. And even though Council Member Sousa is not here, I wanted to let him know that we're working very diligently to bring the center into the city of Goodyear. So I think that's going to happen, working with the West Valley Hospital, and since I'm on the board there, it worked out really well. So thank you very much, Vice Mayor.
Any other?
Yeah, just a comment. I attended with our attorney and staff the Proposition 207 lecture, where they gave a conference, actually gave us advice on how Oregon has dealt with Proposition 207, and I think our attorney is certainly getting well informed on that, and I think it should run fairly smoothly. We'll see, right? And the other thing, I've been working on the Arizona Global Network. And as you know, Arizona has a great disparity between their export and their foreign direct investment. And so we're looking at to go before the Senate and the legislature to get their support on a bill. Will be brought before them to vote on, so that we can gather $1.2 million to hire contractors in foreign countries, to bring foreign businesses, and raise that number where Arizona ranks in having foreign business. It's a lot of money, a lot of investment for our city, a lot of jobs. That's it.
Anyone else? Okay, city manager, summary of current events and reports.
Mayors, members of the council, thank you for many of you taking the opportunity to join us in the groundbreaking of the wastewater treatment plant administration building last week. It was well attended. I have, Mario has a very quick briefing of where the legislature is, and like all good legislatures, they're best when they stay at home, but unfortunately right now they're in session. So you wanted to give you a quick update on about 3 bills.
Yeah, just a quick update. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a few legislative items to share with you. The construction sales tax bill that passed out of the Finance Committee last week. What it does is basically those cities that are charging a higher construction sales tax rate compared to their other classes, it's being viewed as being discriminatory, and as such, that city will then be required to use all that revenue, 100% of the construction sales tax that they collect, for growth related to infrastructure related to new growth. So aside from the local control issue, it's also a revenue issue. A lot of the cities use this for operations. You know, when the house is built, we need police, fire, and streets to support that house. So the league is opposing this bill, and the city will put in a slip in opposition as well. But let's see. Blue Stake is another issue that just kind of presented itself. It's coming from Southwest Gas, and it's asking the public utilities to be responsible for the marking of sewer laterals, private sewer laterals within the public right-of-way. So it's an impact to the operation. The league is opposing this. We'll be submitting a slip in opposition to this bill as well. In addition to the liability, it's a huge impact to costs that could kind of carry over to rates. So we're against that bill. The impact fee study, this basically was impact fees started with a working group that the league has taken charge of coordinating with the development community as a follow-up to last year's bill. And basically, this is the last week to introduce bills in the House that it originated in. So a lot of bills are coming forward this week. And it's...
That was last week. This week?
This week.
Oh, good.
So it's a big week, and it's a work in progress. But the base language is coming from the League, and there are going to be amendments that are going to be associated with this bill as it kind of moves through the process. So I'll keep you updated on that bill as well. Title 34, lastly, is also another League working group that it had to do with when the city had to bid out road maintenance projects, and that's where it started, and there were a lot of issues that were kind of related to that. But basically where it's ended up was, it's a striker bill that's being presented this week that says, it just focuses on penalties. So all the cities will be subjected to a tiered penalty. Right now, for any violation that's related to Title 34 bidding issue, it's $5,000 flat. So this is a tiered penalty. The first violation is 10, then 25, then 75. The League supports this bill. In addition to the tiered penalty, which isn't a major impact to cities, it also calls for the players to work together for the next 2 years. So 15 cities will be working together through all of these issues related to bidding out road maintenance projects for Title 34. So the League supports the bill. We do as well. And I believe that's it. Are there any questions?
Questions from Jim? I have one concern, and at first it may sound frivolous, but Representative Jennifer Burns has a bill, I think it's 2306, for the management and of wild bees. Stray Mountain Ranch is being inundated with wild bees. Many of the homes are being overwhelmed, especially if you have a swimming pool, being overwhelmed with these wild bees. They're Africanized bees. They're wild. They're not the domestic bee that typical beekeeper has. And she has a bill that's in committee now. I don't know what we could do to support it, but since Goodyear Stray Mountain Ranch is involved or has an interest in that, I think I'd like to see us do something. I personally am going to.
Okay,
I don't know if you could help us with that or not.
Okay.
Any other?
One last item, and that is that the capital improvement planning update is going to come to you next week, along with a status report on how staff is preparing to manage each and every one of the projects around the city center and other areas of our community. It's a new strategy that staff put together over the past month. They want to roll it out to you in a work session, so that'll be next Monday.
And I want to thank Mario for your report and what you're doing with the hiding behind us. Okay. Any council members want to direct any inquiries to staff this time? And do we have any projects that we're covered on that? Okay. With that,